All right, we're live. Excellent connection.
Go find the stream on the YouTubes.
I sent it to you. I just texted it to you.
There's a weird delay between... Oh, there it is. I can see myself now. All right.
I'm looking at the stream. Is it just a lag or my shoes in focus and I'm out? Can't tell.
You should be in focus. I'll go check, though.
It looks like it's...
It does look like your shoes are in focus more than
Yeah, it does.
you.
Big time. Let me look at the...
I made sure to focus on the chair. When I focused.
Hola, ¿qué tal? You see you looking at your computer screen. It's got to update. Hold on. I mean, it looks fine on the on OBS, but I can't tell on the. All right, well, guess that's what we'll go off of.
Might just roll right into this one.
What do you mean?
The podcast.
Oh yeah, not do a Q&A at the beginning.
Yeah, we can do a Q&A at the end.
That's fine. Do Q&A at the end. All right, give me one more second to take notes. Yeah.
Post this. Copy. Go to the Instagram. Four people watching.
Dang, there was only one just a second ago.
It was me.
Oh.
I like to pump up the numbers.
Devin said, "What's up?"
What's up, Devin? Good afternoon. Highway brother.
Shut up. Brother. We're going to get started in a minute, guys. I'm actually still even taking notes on this one. And maybe I don't even need to take notes. Maybe I just need to
shoot from the hip.
Shoot from the hip. I'm really good at that sometimes, and I suck at it other times.
So today we are going to be going over we're going to be going over some class details, and then we're also going to go over Western hunting techniques for filming Western hunting, spot and stock, that kind of stuff.
Because that's what we're getting ready to do. It's what's about to happen.
It's getting close.
We've got a trip in a month and 2 days from now on our first Western hunt, mule deer hunt in August. So I think that's what people are getting geared up for. So I figured that's what we'd go ahead and talk about and give some guys some updates on what the class looks like in terms of who's coming, what we're going to be talking about,
I'll
all
be
that
there.
good
Are
stuff.
you going to be there?
I don't know. Just I hadn't decided if I was going to go yet.
Okay.
Figured I was just going to let you do it.
That's cool. That's cool.
Our plan, aka plan, which according to Kip Campbell is a list of things that rarely ever happen.
Which? Oh no, that quote. That's not. I just finished the show. That quote is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was about to say.
I was gonna say you could go see that quote in the wild tonight.
Yeah, it's
on
not
Pursuit Channel.
Not yet.
But not yet.
Almost. Anyway, the plan is for Ryer and I to take that whole week off leading up to the class, so we'll get a whole 4 days off. Be incredible.
Just to decompress and find ourselves
Yeah.
before the class and
It'll be
really
Ryer's
enter an artistic space.
Ryer's
of mind.
first days off since you started here, other than the one day that you were sick, and then I think one day that you had been on the road for like 2 weeks and you stayed at home.
Yeah.
So like a planned days off. I'll probably won't take any days off. I won't have time, but I want you to, because it's gonna be you're gonna have a crazy fall. I'm gonna have a crazy fall, and we don't want to do what we did last year and virtually kill ourselves. So we need a little bit of time for us.
Just need some me time to go find myself.
But at the same time, we're super blessed to have a full schedule. So I'm excited about it. I know Ryer's excited about it. He's got a bunch of good hunts. He did several of them last year that were a blast with Kip that you're going to get to kind of repeat this year.
Yep.
Now you know what you're getting yourself into, so you can really have a good time and do some cool stuff.
Yep.
Because last
it's always
year
cool to go back to the same places too, because you know the guys that you're going to hunt with, and it's nice to hang out with them for a week.
It goes from a learning experience to, okay, how can we make this really cool?
Yeah.
So that's always fun. And I always kind of gotten where, me and Chuck have been back to the same places several years in a row. And then Brian and I went to the same couple places a couple times. And it's nice to be able to know the situation you're going into, but then again, build off of what you've done in the past. So, but at the same time, like, there is also something to be said about going somewhere you've never been.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a balance between those two things. But
we get a pretty good variety.
Yeah, you're gonna get a variety of stuff to do. I'll be getting a variety of stuff to do. Clay's gonna be coming in to help us this fall, and I think I've got one Western trip for him, but for the most part, he's gonna be doing deer. You and I might switch off with him some, just so he can get a change of pace. But it'll be a fun fall. So let's roll right into this if you want to. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do it.
Ready, steady. The Redneck Tech Podcast is brought to you by Diamondback Covers, the absolute best cover you could ever spend your money on. If you need an insurance policy for all the expensive gear on the back of your truck, then you need a Diamondback cover. Make the bed of your truck a vault with Diamondback.
Right here. Yeah. You want it? Yeah. Welcome back to Redneck Tech Podcast, episode 99. And on this one, we're going to start out with class updates, and then we're going to get into Western hunting and filming. This one might be a little bit shorter than normal, just because we kind of put this one together last minute, and probably going to be flying by the seat of our pants for the majority of it. So, but let's be honest, we're not entirely too professional here anyway. So
I usually fly by the seat of my pants.
So that's how we're gonna operate this one. If you don't like it, then sorry. First things first, I guess, is the class. The class is less than a month away, and we've had probably 20 or something people sign up, but then 4 or 5 or 6 people have to back out because of everything from work to family to buying a new house to you name it. And I kind of had the feeling that there'd be some people. Normally that's how it works, is there have a huge influx of people that want to come, and then there'll be, several that have something come up. And that's the hard thing about trying to schedule something that far out. You just don't know, and we don't know, and we've had a hard time just keeping that weekend really blocked out for ourselves. And we've honestly had to tell clients, like, look, we can't do things that weekend just because we have our class that we're going to do. So, but it's going to be fun. I've been doing a lot of work on trying to plan out exactly how we're going to do it and make it different from some of the other classes that we've done, because we've got a couple people coming back that have been to other classes. And the majority of the people that are coming to the class listen to the podcast. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I like it. I enjoy it. You've never done one. This will be your first one. I enjoy them just because I get to meet a bunch of people and the networking that comes along with it. Mm-hmm. And you're getting to hang out with people that are like-minded, that are interested in the same things you're interested in, and they get to ask questions and hang out. And it's kind of it might be an echo chamber for us just because it's what we talk about and live day in and day out. And this is an outlet for these guys and girls that are coming to try and gain knowledge and gain experience to try and do it more or better themselves at what they're already doing. But I always end up learning a ton and meeting a bunch of new people that a lot of them have helped me in the past with, you name it, whether it's finding a place to film a show or showing up or answering a question or you name it. I've met a lot of really good people through the class, and that's as valuable to me as it is just meeting good people, because those are few and far between nowadays. But first things first is we have the location of the school is going to be held at one of the meeting rooms at the Smith House, which is a local restaurant and hotel here in town. We're going to be doing dinner Friday night. I think it's 7:00 with everybody. We're gonna cover the dinner, so it'll be really good Southern cooking. So if you're coming, don't try not to eat lunch that day because you're not gonna want to eat lunch that day. Ryers, you've had Smith House before.
Yeah,
it was good.
It's real good.
So we're gonna be doing that. And Friday, really, whatever time you want to show up Friday, we're gonna be here all day, or I'll be here all day. I don't know what time Ryer will be here. I'll be there all day. You'll probably be there all day too.
I like to show up to events fashionably late.
Yeah. We'll probably have some of our gear over there. Probably not all of it, just because I don't want to move my whole office over there if I can help it. We will come back here to the office to do some stuff. But show up anytime you want on Friday. We'll be around all day. And Friday is really going to be a day where everybody meets everybody, kind of a meet and greet, Q&A. And depending on what time everybody gets there, we'll try and do some hands-on with cameras and taking some photos and, whatever kind of lends itself to that day. But more than anything, it's a day for everybody to get to know everyone, kind of figure out, this area and what we're going to be doing, where we're going to be doing it. And it'll be a really low stress, probably watch some videos, that kind of thing. Not a really heavy day, but definitely get there in time to go to dinner, if nothing else. That way everybody can kind of hang out and meet. And I think actually we're going to have dinner in that meeting room. They're going to actually do it buffet style in the meeting room, so that's cool. We'll have our own little space. I don't know how to tell you how to get to the meeting room. Just when you get there, go to the front desk and tell them you're there for the film class, and they will send you to the meeting room, I guess. I don't really know how to get there. But we should be there all day that day. Or we'll probably wait until the first person gets there and calls us, and then we'll run over there. Let's be honest. All right, Saturday is the long day. Saturday is the day that we're really going to get down to exactly what the class is and what we're going to be doing. That morning, we'll be meeting at a location. I haven't decided exactly where, probably at the farm I grew up on, which is probably about 15 minutes from the Smith House. And we're going to start doing some scenarios, because what everybody said on the questionnaire for the class was they really want to get into storytelling and what is storytelling. So we're going to set up essentially a mock hunt to where we're going to, Ryer and I and Clay and whoever else we bring, Chuck acted like he might get to come. So if he comes, then he'll be the subject, and Ryer and I will I'll probably have Ryer actually running camera, and then I'll kind of be guiding through the process, and then let some people step in. And what we're going to do is it's going to be a really hands-on exercise on how to tell that story in the field. And we'll kind of try and break it down into a spot and stock hunt, maybe a turkey hunting situation, a deer hunting situation, kind of whatever the area we're in lends itself to. We'll probably try and do more than one of those. And then we're actually going to try and video it, and that way we can bring it back here to the office and literally break down the shots inside of an edit, and kind of make it make sense as to how and why we film certain situations the way that we do. Because it's really hard for someone to, and I can see this because when I used to watch outdoor television before I saw it done, I didn't understand to be able to break down shots. Like, you watch a hunt or something, you break down like, well, that's a B-roll shot, that's a recreate, that's a transition, and then how you got it, why you got it, and the point behind it, and to kind of walk people through what that shot looks like and how we would shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the way we shoot it doesn't mean that that's the only way to shoot it. That's the way that we've done it, and
You must shoot it that way.
Yeah, that's the
Or
only.
you get excommunicated from the redneck tech community.
Yeah, and that's a
Cut off.
Yeah.
Just kidding. That was a joke.
So I think that's what we're gonna do, kind of that first morning before it gets really hot, and then when it starts warming up, because it's gonna be hot. I mean, it's Georgia, and hopefully it doesn't rain. Hopefully, knock on wood, we have some good weather. Then we're gonna get into pictures, because that's the other thing that most guys wanted to really learn how to do is take really good recovery pictures. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and mock up some of those scenarios of how to do a good turkey recovery picture, how to do a good deer recovery picture, and some of the elements that go along with that, and then bring those pictures into Lightroom. And then we'll probably come back to the office in the heat of the day, that day after lunch. We'll go out and eat lunch somewhere, and then we'll come back to the office and we'll color those pictures and we'll do some of that editing work. And then we're going to be hands-on through that whole day of like having the camera in your hand and walking through exactly how to do that shot. And we'll be over your shoulder saying, you know, look at this, do this way, or okay, why are you doing it this way? And kind of trying to be as hands-on as we possibly can. That way it makes sense to guys like, okay, this is why we change angles. This is why we change focal lengths. This is why how you shoot this is how you shoot this. This is why you shoot this. And then we'll work on the communication as to what does that mean? How does that work between the hunter and the producer? And if you're self-filming, what does that look like? And how does that differ from what we do, which is not self-filming? It's very, very different. So that day is going to be very exercise heavy, very hands-on heavy. And in terms,
do we want people to bring their rigs?
That's what I was going to say. In terms of what you want to bring whatever you want to learn on. If you want to learn how to edit and you have a computer, bring your computer. If you have a camera that you want to learn how to run, bring that. If you have a slider, you have a tripod, whatever. I don't care what you bring. Bring as much or as little as you want. Just remember, the more you have, the more that we can lay hands on with you, the better it is.
A lot of times with camera specific advice, I can say, like, these are the settings you want, but every camera is a little different as to where you manipulate those settings. And so it really helps to have the camera in front of me, and I can actually look and go into the menu and find the settings and show you, okay, this is where this setting is, or this is where this setting is. And so if you really want specific instruction on how to change certain settings, you really want to have your camera with you.
Yeah, and then for us to be able to show you with your camera how to get a certain look. Say, hey, I really like how this show does this, or how this looks, or how to shoot. That's another thing we're going to do is how to shoot interviews. Like how to stage interviews, how to set up your subject, how to frame, how to get the most out of your camera. Because I don't care what kind of camera you have, $1,000 camera or $10,000 camera. There are ways to make that camera work better for you. And we're going to go over that. And we're going to show you the importance of shooting things in manual versus shooting things in auto. So that's the goal for Saturday, till lunch, early afternoon. Then we're going to come back here to the office, kind of break up into 3 groups and 3 offices, and go over that edit, how that edit looks, why we edit things a certain way. And then that'll probably be all we can have time for on Saturday. And then Sunday is going to be editing, post-production. Ryer, me, and Clay will all have a certain show or an edit or something that we've worked on or that we need to be working on. We might do it something we need to be working on so we can kind of honestly have a leg up on what we're doing. But we'll have it structured to where we're going to have a block of footage that we shot to where we can show you not only shot breakdown, but how we edit, how we hide edits, how we transition, show pace, editing to music, all those things. Sunday will be a very, very computer heavy inside day, and we will probably be here until the very earliest be done, probably 2 or 3 o'clock, and then we'll probably hang out if whoever wants to hang out till whenever you want to leave that day. So leave time is whatever time you want to leave on Sunday, but we'll probably be working on stuff most of that day, and it will be completely completely centered around post-production. So Saturday is going to be kind of a mixture of post-production, pre-production, in the field shooting, hands-on, and then Sunday is going to be all probably here in the office or at the meeting room, depending on how we decide we want to do it. The office is kind of tight for have that many people, but we might can do it. And it's just going to be easier to do it here just because all of our computers are here, all the drives are here.
Yeah.
So just be prepared. It might be a little bit tight, but we're going to make it to where.
If we need to, we'll set up some tree stands on the walls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You guys can sit in those and watch.
I do need to get some chairs, though. I will need to get some chairs for people to sit in for each room, 5 or 6 chairs that we can put in there so people aren't having to stand. Kind of trying to take some mental notes of things that I need to get to. But Sunday will be a very enlightening day because it took someone showing me that knew what they were doing on the editing part, how to do certain things, and the importance of shortcuts, how to hide edits, things like that. There'll be a high point of things that we do, like, and I kind of need to write those things down of like how to hide edits, how to edit to music, how to end a song, how to transition, those basic things that. Knowing how to do those things are going to improve your edit so much just by knowing these certain things and then seeing those things implemented exactly how that we do them. Yeah, that's kind of what I had planned. Is that what is that kind of what you had in your head? Is there anything I'm missing?
No. I think that covers most of it.
Okay, I'm looking through my notes here, walk through, post-production breakdowns, editing workflow. That's something we're going to go to. How to set up a timeline, because we'll probably start from the very beginning, like bringing in the footage. We're going to kind of go through the 101 all the way to fairly advanced in a very short amount of time. So it will be a lot of information to take in, and we'll try not to blow past people that need, more help in certain areas. But to do an edit, essentially from the very start to very finish, it's going to take all day, especially if we're having to stop and explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about doing a 2-minute edit from very start to very, end. It's probably going to take us 3 or 4 hours to do that without somebody watching. So
yeah,
it's going to take twice that amount of time if somebody's watching. So, and if we have to break down every keystroke and everything like that. So just remember, get here from some Friday, I would say lunch or late morning, lunchtime. Or early afternoon if you can't get here earlier. Do dinner, meet and greets, Saturdays all day outside, be inside some when it gets really hot, and then Sunday will be inside. Plan accordingly, bring whatever you want. I've got a couple people coming back. It's going to be really good networking. I've already said that. So that's pretty much the class. That's what I had for the class. What did I miss?
I think that's all of it.
I think that is all of it.
If y'all have any more specific questions about the class, just shoot us a message.
Yeah.
We can answer those questions.
Yeah. So, and for those of you listening on the podcast version, or we might need to leave a thing in the notes. So, like, if you're not coming to class, just skip forward to like minute 16:30 in the podcast, and we'll start talking about the Western hunting stuff now. That way, if you don't want to hear about the class, then you don't have to hear about the class. You can just skip ahead.
It's very thoughtful of you.
That's very thoughtful. I've listened.
Efficiency.
I've listened to podcasts before that they're talking about a whole subject that I don't care about, and I'm waiting to the end to hear what I really want to hear about. And I wish they would have just said, "Hey, just skip 30 minutes forward, and you wouldn't have to hear all that crap you didn't want to hear." So we'll start talking about Western hunting now, and it is 16:51, 2, 3. So Western hunting is what we're getting ready for. Mule deer, pronghorn, elk, all the the Western big game stuff that we love to do so much. That's what we're getting geared up for. We're doing the TAC event, or I'm doing the TAC event in Utah. Then we have a mule deer hunt in Utah, and then Ryer will be in Wyoming beginning of September. I'll be in Montana beginning of September. And then it's off to the races for everybody. Oh, you'll be in South Carolina too, but you'll be doing a deer hunt there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting geared up for spot and stock hunting and Western hunting, and we kind of wanted to sit down and kind of break down what that looks like, and what that looks like from a filming perspective and maybe a gear perspective. I've learned a lot over the years because here in Georgia, in the southeast, really, there's not a whole lot of spot and stock hunting that happens other than maybe like hogs, which is fairly rare. But I mean, in California, pretty much all y'all did was spot and stock for hogs, right?
Yeah.
What are some things some do's and don'ts that you learned when doing spot and stock hunts? What are some things that, like, all right, these are the basics of what it looks like to film this hunt?
I think one of the main things is just being close to who you're filming.
Yeah, for sure.
Because especially with spot and stock and how how variable and unexpected a spot and stock situation is, you don't know where the animal is going to be when you come up on it, and you don't know what the approach to that animal is going to be like, and you also don't know kind of what obstacles are in the way, how the terrain might lie when you get up on the animal. And so, it's happened a few times where I could just be a few feet different or a few feet back or to the side of the hunter, and
Or you could be over one shoulder versus the other
yeah,
shoulder.
and suddenly now you can't see the animal.
Yeah.
Or you could be hanging back to get a shot, and your hunter's 50 yards down the road or something, and you're getting a nice walking shot, and then they're on an animal, and now you're behind, and you have to somehow get up to them, and then continue to stalk from there. And in a spot and stock situation, you may not have time to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think definitely trying to be close to your hunter at all times. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I constantly run into the people I'm filming just because I'm close to them, and my depth perception isn't great because of my cross eyes, so that hurts that a little bit. But
well, I always tell people the rule of thumb with spot and stock or anything where you're on the ground moving is two things. You need to be within arm's reach. That way, for if nothing else, if you see something they don't, you can grab them and stop them.
Yeah, that's happened a lot.
A lot, yeah.
They're in front of you, and there's an animal, and you can't say, "Hey, there's an animal."
Yeah,
I've done the animal. You gotta
I've
whisper a little bit.
Yeah, I've even done some hunts with some inexperienced people to where you're essentially, the hunter and the guide, where literally you have a hold of their shirt and you're pushing them, and then you're telling them to stop, pushing them, telling them to stop. Now it's rare, but it has happened before to where, or it could be in a situation where you're with an experienced hunter and they just don't see what you see, and they're asking you questions, but you need to move, and it's one of those things where literally you can grab the back of their shirt and push them, and then stop them, push them, stop them. But
or
it's
sometimes
really,
just to let them know that you're there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you're in a situation, there's a lot of moving going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good just to so that they know that you're okay. I'm over the right shoulder. I'm over the left shoulder.
Well, I've heard so many horror stories of guys filming spot and stock where the hunter sees something and they get down on their knees or they start to crawl, and the animal runs off, and then they look and they turn around and their producer's standing there, holding the camera by their side, just walking behind them. And you want to slap them and be like, the common sense says he's not crawling to be cool. He's crawling so the animal doesn't see him. So what do you need to do? You mirror what they're doing.
Yeah.
You get on the ground. You make yourself small. You do all the things because you have to be a hunter in that situation.
Well, I try to a lot of times just stay almost. You try to think of what is the animal seeing of us too, and I try to stay right as much hidden behind the hunter as you can while still being able to have a shot.
Yeah.
And usually you get the nice over the shoulder shots anyways.
That's one of Dudley's biggest pet peeves is when you're doing a spawn stock. He wants you literally almost full body touching him, because he's like, if an animal sees us that close together, he said it looks like something with four legs.
Yeah.
He said it looks like another animal. They might not know exactly what kind of animal, but a four-legged animal is going to scare something less than a two-legged animal. He's like, if they see that separation to where they know it's two different things,
yeah,
he said that's when you're screwed. He's like, you can get away with a lot when they think that you're a four-legged animal. So that's one of his big, literally, he wants you, and this is, one of the first times I ever filmed him, he wanted me to do this. He's like, if I pick a foot up, your foot goes in that foot. He's like, that's how close he wants you. You want, you're putting your feet in his footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes off his shoes a lot and goes barefooted in his sock feet a lot, and lots of crawling. I mean, it's a ordeal,
Mm-hmm.
but that's why he kills so much stuff. But
I mean,
you've
any
gotta-
spot and stock is gonna, if
Yeah.
you're doing it right.
yeah,
I mean, it should be.
Yeah.
You should be right there with them.
yeah, for sure. And the second part is they have on a live mic and you have on earbuds, because that is going to save you so many times to where they can look straight ahead and communicate with you. They see something you can't see through them, and they can communicate back to you to say, there he is, don't move. He's right in front of me. He's moving left to right. He's about to step out. Get your camera up and get ready. Here he comes. All of those things. If you don't have a lav mic and you're not monitoring that audio, you don't hear those things. I cannot tell you how many times that has saved a hunt for us.
Mm-hmm.
Is that communication. And he's 2-3 feet from me, but he can literally whisper, he's right there. And he doesn't have to turn around and look at me, or he doesn't have to say, stop. He can literally whisper, he's right there, 30 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Get your stuff ready. He's walking out right now. And that I don't have to ask him. He can tell me, we know 12 o'clock straight ahead. He's coming out at 3 o'clock. He's coming out at whatever. And we can communicate very, very easily. And I can whisper back to where he doesn't have to turn around. There's this unspoken, or let's say unspoken. There's essentially a silent way that we can communicate and be very effective at it. But if I get lazy for 1 minute and I don't wear those earbuds, or don't change my batteries, or make sure my lav mic isn't rubbing or doing things that mess it up, I lose that advantage. And it's already hard enough to get in on animals with 2 people. So any advantage you can have, any form of communication, any form of communication breakdown of being too far away or not hearing the lav mics.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. If you are 50 yards away filming them walking, they can talk into their mic and tell you exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
You don't have to wonder. They can say, hey, run up here, run. You got time, run. Versus some form of hand signal that we don't know what it means. It's like, do I come? Do I go? Do I run? Do I just crawl? What do I do?
Yeah.
They can literally tell you in your microphone exactly what's happening. It's invaluable. And that right there is a reason to buy lav mics to me. It's just same thing with a deer stand. I mean, it's that line of communication is so important. It hurts your ambient, listening in ambient audio, like hearing deer walking or whatever. But I think the communication outweighs you needing to be able to hear an animal walking. That's the hunter's job anyway. Your job is to be the producer, and you should be still and quiet anyway. So that shouldn't be an excuse.
I think also knowing who you're hunting with, and kind of knowing some of their mannerisms helps too.
Yeah.
Especially if you film the same person or film a lot of the same people, kind of getting to know how they naturally are, and then being able to pick up on when they might see or hear something.
Yeah.
I had this better in my head, but basically, like if somebody is paying attention to your hunter in the way that if they're walking and maybe you're looking over there, you can hear them walking. If they stop, then you stop. Or if you hear them start kind of walking slowly, or you see that they're listening to something or doing any of those things, you can kind of make sure that you're in the right place to film or to be ready for whatever might happen next.
Yeah. And then I think a lot of outdoor content now historically gets chastised for recreating things, recreating some of those spot and stock shots, recreating drawing and anchoring and flipping off the safety or whatever the case may be. We're going to try and get everything that we can live. So in that spot and stock, if we can get people's feet walking, if we can get tights to their face, tights to their hands, all those really cool visual elements that really become emotional, we'll get those live. And when I say live, I mean in the moment. Most of the time, you have to be completely focused on the animal, and you're not going to be able to get those things. So after a shot happens and you kill an animal and you do a recovery or whatever the case may be, the next thing you need to do is you need to go back and get all those things. Get those recreates, get those B-roll shots. They're going to help you in editing. It's going to help you tell the story better. It's going to help the edit. It's going to help everything about what you're doing. And don't feel like it irritates me when people say, well, that's faking it. Or that's not how it happened. It is how it happened. It's just not in the order that it happened. Your job is to be entertaining and to tell a story. And that's the whole part of storytelling. If you come to our class, we're going to show you exactly how we do things, how we do things live, and then how we do recreations. And recreations are a huge part of it. They're even bigger part of some other shows. Some shows have a lot more recreation than others, and some don't have any. And the only way that you're not going to have any is if you're running second angles and you're running the camera all the time. And if you do that, more power to you. It's not the style that we film. It's not the way that I think makes the best content. So that's not how we're going to do it. But just remember, if something happens during the course of a hunt, whether that's a spot and stalk, whether that's sitting in a blind, whether it's in a deer stand, that you don't get live, that adds to the story or that had a significant portion of the story attributed to it, whether that's glassing, whether that's ranging, whether that's drawing, whether that's communicating with you on the animal, whatever the case may be, you need to go back and you need to get those things. And there's ways of doing it correctly. There's ways of doing it to where it's doesn't feel so fake or so staged. And is it acting? Yeah, a little bit. But that's why some shows are better than others, because they're really, really good at making you a part of that experience. And I just don't think you should have a problem with doing recreates. It just bugs me when people have a problem with recreates. I mean, they're vital to telling a good story. Anything you've ever watched on television, it's entertainment. All that's acting and recreations. Just because this is hunting, why is that an exception to the rule? We're creating something to be entertaining and informational. So therefore, it has to have B-roll, it has to have recreations, it has to have restages or spot, whatever you want to call it. So just always make sure you keep a mental note of things that happen, and then go back and get those things after the fact. Let me look at my notes. Communication. We already talked about communication, about how important that is. The spot and stalk, and I'll kind of go over the story of how it happened in Utah this last year on an elk hunt with me and Andy Stump. We missed the bull on the 4th day and killed a bull on the 5th day. And both times I was within arm's reach of Andy. And I was ready. He knew I was ready. Over his shoulder, I made sure I told him when I had the animal in frame and in focus and I was recording, I made sure to tell Andy, I'm ready anytime you're ready. And the only time I'd say anything different is if I wasn't ready. If the animal walked off, he got behind a bush, whatever the case may be, I'm always communicating, but I'm not being confusing. I'm not over communicating. I let him know I'm ready. And then the only time I say anything else is when I'm not ready anymore. First time I didn't have Andy in my frame. The second time I did. That's what you want to shoot for. You want to have your hunter in the frame with the animal if possible. But that's what happened. That when we killed, is the elk was coming directly to us. He got to like 5 steps, and Andy's in front of me, so he's 3 steps from Andy. And animal moved. I told him I'm ready. He makes the shot, and as immediately as soon as that elk runs off, and I lose him, the first thing I do is I go to Andy for a reaction. That's the basics of how you do it. Is you communicate where you are and what you're doing. That way the hunter knows exactly your status in terms of getting the animal on camera. And then as soon as that animal's out of frame, we come to our hunter and we get the reaction. It's not really any harder than that. It's pretty easy.
Pretty simple.
You would think so. So, I'm trying to think. You know, elk hunts are different just because you're in the mountains, and gear becomes a factor and weight becomes a factor. You know, I've done elk hunts both ways. I've done them with DSLRs. I've done them with full cinema cameras. I don't know, man. I think it comes down to what's your goal. Are you there to get a kill, or are you there to get something really, really cinematic and epic? And I think you can do both with a DSLR, but there's just drawbacks to them. I know we're still in the middle of that conundrum right now, especially now that R5 came out, of what we're going to do next. I really want to get my hands on that, but I also don't want to spend $3,900 on a body right now. But
I've always been a big camera guy.
yeah.
I mean, like large. I'm a big camera guy, but also I like large cameras. And I've never filmed. Well, for a couple days, I filmed you on your what was it, the A7? A7.
Oh, you're talking about Wyoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I filmed for a couple days on that rig with the monopod, and it was nice, but I think I still preferred lugging the FS7 around. I think last year on our hunt, I ran the FS7 on sticks for what, 2 days?
2 or 3 days, yeah.
2 or 3 days, and then when we decided that we were going to go and really start bushwhacking, I went handheld. I definitely like handheld over the sticks for an elk hunt. I think that I might rather default to that in the future, just depending on what the situation is. If we're going to do a lot of glassing and things of that nature, I'll definitely bring the sticks. But if it's going to be like how the hunting was for us a lot of the times, then I think handheld would probably be the way to go. And I think that, especially with a big camera, that decision is a little bit easier because you can handhold a big FS7 a lot easier than you can a DSLR. And I prefer having just kind of the weight of a big camera and all of the controls right at my fingertips, and all of the audio options. And I think for me that makes lugging, 10 extra pounds of camera around worth it, because one of the things I don't like about filming with DSLRs is the fact that you can't always change all of your settings right on the fly.
Yeah.
And I like...
Well, you can, just not near as quick.
Yeah. And I like having all of them. I mean, on the FS7, a lot of them are right on the handle, and the other ones are, just a little bit back from the lens. So they're all right here. And I don't have to move or change really anything to mess with those settings on the fly, which I think is definitely important in a spot and stock situation, and when an animal is in front of you and when you need to make sure that everything is right in the moment, and especially in a situation with spotting and stocking where lighting and your orientation and everything is changing really, really quickly.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on the DSLR versus big camera debate. I would personally choose a bigger camera for a better quality image and for the controls and the ease of controls on a bigger camera over a DSLR any day.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
or a mirrorless, I guess.
I think
you
that's,
have to say mirrorless these days.
I think that's we're one of the few left that still runs the big cameras. I mean, there's, like you said, there's value in it. And I think another reason we do it is generally we can charge more for it. But also the cameras cost significantly more. Trust me, I just had to buy another one. So there are definitely drawbacks to taking a big camera. It's really hard to hide a big camera. It's hard to carry a big camera if you're not used to it, especially in the mountains. There's definitely some tougher things about it. I get asked all the time, if I sell any or use, or if you ever have any used cameras, let me know and I want to buy them. No, we don't. We generally have used cameras, and you don't want to buy them if we did. But it's most guys out there, most guys listening, there's going to be shooting on a point shoot handy cam type camera. There are ways to make it better. There's ways to make it look better. Just learn to shoot those things in as many manual settings as you can. And communicate, get talking, produce talking. I know we harp on that one a lot, but it's very important. It's very important to a good job of doing a good job in the field and telling a good story is getting that talking and that dialogue and explaining, and just use the rule of thumb that your audience is dumb and they don't know where you're at or what you're doing, who, what, when, where, why, whether. And if you do a good job of that and you halfway know what you're doing in the field hunting, then you'll be fine. Just try not to be the reason that you lose an animal. You will be the reason that someone loses an animal one of these days, I promise. But just try not to make that a habit.
I think also spotting and stalking or Western hunting, when you're moving a lot, I've found that it's almost more important to get the talking because of how often the situation can change and how many different places you may end up and how many different scenarios you might encounter.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my rule of thumb is just anytime there's anything different about what we're doing, where we're going, where we've been,
and if you're
maybe a different animal or what just happened.
If you're doing a good job of being close to whoever it is, if you're close to whoever you're supposed to be within arm's reach, you should have ample opportunity to get that talking.
Yeah.
And there should be enough talking going on between you and your hunter to be able to create good dialogue anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If you're asking questions outside the scope of the camera, then there's things that the viewer needs to know. If you guys have a constant dialogue about what's happening, then they need to know. So that's the just get as much of that talking as you can and produce it for the camera. And that's hard to explain to somebody how you get talking created in a way that's conducive to being on camera. Whereas you answer the question with the question or set up this situation, we're in, you've heard the standard, we're in this state this week hunting this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other, and that essentially that standard, very cliche way of setting up a trip or setting up a hunt. And I think those are important, but be a little more creative with that. Talk about the story, the animal, the pursuit, the location, like I said, the weather, and make it personal. Don't try and be somebody or something that you're not, because people will be able to see right through that. That's not hard to see. Stay within your lane and talk constantly, and I think you'll do fine. And shoot straight. Make sure the red light's on. That's pretty important. Make sure the red light is on. I think that's all I got. Yeah, this is going to be a short one. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
No?
Mm-mm.
Well, it is almost that time, buddies. It's almost time to get to the fall. Will be here before we know it. And I don't know if I'm ready for it, to be honest. I don't know if I'm ready to hit it as hard as we did last year. So, all right, guys. Appreciate it. Peace. Yeah, we're still live. I think we're still live. Pretty sure we are.
So is this thing still on?
Yeah, it's still on. Just not recording anymore.
Clay wanted to know, why do you buy another FS7?
Because we had to have another one. I'll explain later. Honestly, might have to buy another one.
Another one.
Yeah, it's exactly what I wanted to do. Hey. So, I don't know. Have we had any questions come through the Instagram last couple of days that we could answer to?
I don't think so.
Nobody's asking any questions. Well, I hate
They
the
know
guts.
everything now.
Girlich is on. What's up, buddy? Chris is coming to the class.
Sweet. We'll all be homies after this. Redneck Tech homies.
Chris lives, or did live, I don't know if he still lives there. He lives in probably one of my favorite places in the whole world, Southeast Oklahoma. I met Chris 2009, 2010-ish, long time ago, 10, 11 years ago.
I was still in high school.
Yeah, I've got some video of him when he was just a little chap.
Little chap?
Just a little chap. Just a little precious.
I think you need to say that in an Irish accent.
A little precious? I don't know if
little chap.
Little chap. I don't even think I can talk in an Irish accent.
Do you shoot in 30 or 24? For TV, 30. For everything else, we do 24.
Yeah, 29.97 for TV. That's what Outdoor Channel and Pursuit Channel wants, and 23, whatever 9.7 or 9.8, whatever it is,
9.7.
for everything else. Just because I like the way it looks better. It's silky smooth, and your eye sees closer to 24 than it does at 30. So that's generally what we shoot most of the time. And then high speed, we probably shoot in 120 most of the time, just because I think 180 is too slow.
I do 180.
Yeah,
I just speed
I like
it up.
120.
I just speed it up in post.
My camera won't shoot in 120 or 180. I only shoot 120.
Yeah, I know. I learned that.
I don't know why.
Where were we? We were in Oklahoma, and I was sitting in the tree running your camera, and I kept trying to do the one. I would put it to 180,
I wouldn't do it.
and I wouldn't do it. It kept shutting down, and I was
Yeah.
getting so pissed.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening to the
Yeah.
camera? It's
It
not
will
working.
It will not shoot 180. I don't understand why.
And finally, you were down below. I said, Caleb, there's something wrong with the camera. It keeps turning off. I've never had it do this before.
Yeah, no. I've never stopped long enough to figure out why. I bet if I sent it in and got it fixed, it would. I bet it's some sort of firmware issue,
Did
which
you try
we
turning
probably.
it off and turning it back
Oh
on?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah. We honestly should probably update the firmware on those cameras. I don't know when the last time we did that was. I'm scared it'll mess them up though. I probably shouldn't.
Premiere has forever changed the way I look at updates for anything.
Oh, I know.
I never update anything anymore because I'm
Yeah.
afraid that it's just going to be horrible.
Chris just asked if we've looked at the EOS R5 and what would you guys consider investing in RF class in the future. We have looked at the R5. We both watched the video the day that it launched. It almost
pretty sweet.
It almost seems too good to be true.
I keep feeling like there's going to be some sort of compression. Like there's got to be a catch in how they're processing all of that data. Like it's got to be getting crushed or something.
Well, they're saying the prototypes were having overheating issues because there's no fans. I mean, this is a mirrorless camera.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that I have to get RF glass with it. Or do you have to get RF glass with it?
I don't know.
Because that would suck to have to buy all new glass. Because we already have 2 sets of Canon glass, and then we had to buy a third. And I'm sure RF glass is stupid expensive, which we do need to buy one more 70 to 200.
16 to 35.
We only have one of those.
Yeah, we have 2 24 to 105s because on my FS7 I run that 18 to 200.
Oh yeah,
And so
that's why we've been able to get away with what we've got.
Yeah.
We've
and
got
then
2 24 to 105s. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
then
right.
I take one of the 24 to 105s with my DSLR,
Yeah.
and you have the
The
you've got
3.
the triple threat.
Yeah. We need to get another. Well, which one would you rather have, a 16 to 35 or a 70 to 200?
It's a terrible question
Well,
because
we need to buy.
I want both of them. you talking about like what lens I prefer to shoot on?
If you could only choose one,
If I
which
could
one would it
only
be?
choose one for what? Forever?
For anything, yeah. It's got to be, it's got to be versatile.
Out of all three of them, or just the?
No, you have a 24 to 105. What would be your your second option? A 16 to 35 or 70 to 200?
Pictures or video?
It's everything. It's got to be.
What am I filming?
I've not given you any more parameters. And he said there's an adapter for EF, but the RF looks sharp. I'm sure if it'll use EF lenses, I mean, they'll be sharp enough for all we need it for. I would think.
I would say 16 to 35. Do I still have the FS7?
Yeah.
What am I just using this as a picture camera?
I told you I'm not giving you any more parameters. You asked too many questions.
I like the 16 to 35. I like the look of a 16 to 35. But I also like the look of the 70 to 200.
Yeah, that's a really tough choice. I'm glad you had to make it. Because I don't have to make it. I have them both.
Yeah, I like the. I use the 16 to 35 more with what I do with the DSLR.
Yeah.
I think I use the 70 to 200 for some portraits. Action stuff, like when we're in the dunes, I use the 70 to 200 a lot. But other than that, I don't really put that 70 to 200 on the DSLR that often. Usually it's the 16 to 35 or the 24 to 105. But that's because anytime I'm using the DSLR, whatever I'm taking pictures of is usually pretty close to me.
Yeah. I definitely take pictures with the 16 to 35 more than I do the 70 to 200. But I really want 7200 2.8 real bad. We have the F4.
That one's not a 2.8?
It's F4. 2.8's significantly more expensive. But I don't know. That's something I'm going to look at investing in before the fall. Got too much money to spend before the fall.
That 70 to 200 is really nice for. I wouldn't use the 16 to 35 very much for just pictures of people.
Yeah.
Pictures of people doing things. The 16 to 35 is cool if you can really get up in there with what they're doing.
Get up in there. Real nice.
Get up. Real nice, Clark. But that 70 to 200, like if you're going to pose people for pictures or if you can't be like a foot from them when you're taking pictures of them, the 70 to 200 would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Especially because you get a really nice background blur with that.
Yeah, I really want one of those R5s, and I'm going to let some other people get one before I buy one, which is generally what I do. I'll let some other people be the early adopters. I'm generally not an early adopter. It's usually not a sound strategy to be an early adopter. I'll let a couple other people get it, and I'll see some footage from it that they shot, and not somebody from Canon.
It's the same thing with GoPro.
Or Peter McKinnon. Obviously, I'm not going to shoot it what Peter McKinnon's going to shoot. So
yeah, and the GoPro footage always looks great on the GoPro videos.
Yeah, no.
And never once have I ever gotten a GoPro to look anywhere close to how it looks on theirs.
No doubt.
I don't know what they're doing, but I can't get it to look like that.
My GoPro looks like it's been drugged through gravel when it goes through. That's why I hate them so bad. Kip loves them. He really likes the GoPro. I know somebody who else hates them. Lee Lukoski hates them.
GoPros?
Real bad. Real bad.
Why? For the same reasons we hate them?
Same reasons we hate them. Yeah. They just don't do what they're supposed to do. Never do they do that. So, all right. That's about all the time we got, folks. Glad you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it. Got any more questions? Holla at us. Peaces.